Hey folks, BFG Neil here, and today I'm going to start a weekly roundup of what's happening on the Helium network. It's also going to be an opportunity for me to show you any projects that I'm doing, building, or have seen over the network. And I also want to answer your questions in an FAQ style. So if you do have comments or questions, please drop them in the comments below, and then weekly we'll go over them and answer them. But firstly, thank you for your support. The channel's only a few weeks old and already has 400 subscribers, 15,000 views, and over 600 watch hours, which just blows my mind. I can't thank you enough for your support so far, but if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing and like this video. It helps with the growth of the channel massively. Secondly, I've moved into a new office. It's a lovely place. It's very echoey at the moment, but in the coming weeks you'll see this place change and the sound get better. So bear with me. The first piece of news I want to go over is the fact that my site Heliumstatus has gone paid only. We had to make the difficult decision that subscription only was the way we had to go. We've grown to over 45,000 users with over 1 million requests on our API a day. So it was just getting to the levels where we weren't getting enough people subscribing that we've had to make it a subscription only. I hope you agree with me that $2 a month is such a low subscription that it makes it worthwhile. The only difference between this tools only package is that you can live look up a hotspot. It won't monitor hotspots for you. So if you want to monitor hotspots, we have a monitoring package and they start from £5 a month all the way up to 80. But if you need something custom, please get in touch and we can go over that for you. And the second bit of news I want to go over is the new Helium DenyList. Now this isn't HIT 40, the decentralized method that hasn't been voted on yet. We've had temperature checks on HIT 40, but it's not ready yet. This is the Helium Inc. DenyList. This was the list that the community found, was voted to return, and it's been fleshed out into GitHub so you can see what's going on. There's a method for removal from the list, to add to the lists, which you can do from the issues. You can see quite a few additions have already been added. You can read some of these descriptions of why they're being added and who submitted them. This is not to say that they'll definitely be added, but it's just for consideration. And then also in the link is the raw GitHub file of all of the blocks. So these are all the hotspots that have been blocked. The easiest way to visualize these is with Hotspotty. What you can do is load up Hotspotty, click this filter icon, and then you'll see one called DenyList. And instantly it pulls out hotspots that have made it to the DenyList. In the UK, we've got a bunch in London, as you can see here. If I scroll around, there's a bunch. So just a quick way to visualize what's on the list and if you're being affected. Eventually there should be some method that exploring the app will show this information, but until this time, you can see the first version and look up your hotspot here. Up next, we've got the X-Telia announcement that they've announced a roaming partnership with Helium. This brings X-Telia's existing IoT solutions onto the Helium network. So if they want to enable roaming over Helium, they can from their customer portal now. X-Telia provide LoRaWAN-based solutions. They're Canadian-based. They have an existing range of sensors, and those sensors can now connect to Helium. So these announcements are huge. We've recently had one from Senate. When Senate have talked about roaming on the Helium network, they gave an example of New York, and one of their customers was using their private network. They enabled Helium roaming, and for asset tracking, that increased 25%. The visibility of what they could see of their sensors increased 25%. So having these roaming partners is huge because they've already got the sensors, they just don't have the same sort of coverage Helium has. So it's a marriage made in heaven, really. You know, they can bring their existing systems and we can provide the better quality, better spread of a network. The next thing I want to talk about is DAOs. So after the community call on Wednesday, 2 new HIPs were put in, 51 and 52, and both are DAO-faced. You may be asking what a DAO is, but the idea is it's a company, it's a blockchain company, it's a decentralized autonomous organization. And the idea is that a DAO can set out terms to run the blockchain, to govern the blockchain, to decide what happens. And Helium, it seems to be moving along this path where we need more than one DAO. So LoRaWAN, 5G, both have different requirements, right? So if you look at LoRaWAN, for example, there's a new type of validator that we need because they're going to be doing construction challenges. So this new type of validator doesn't fit well with running the blockchain, you know. So the idea is HIT 51 puts the main blockchain, the level 1 as such, as the Helium chain. All subchains will use HNT for rewards and DC to spend on the network, but they'll have sub-tokens. So there'll be a 5G token, sub-token, a layer 2 as such, and there'll be a LoRaWAN token, layer 2 as such. 5G needs very different validators as well, so they need validators for the settlement layers between providers. So their economic and technical backgrounds are very, very different. And at the moment, the Helium blockchain is very, very intertwined with LoRa. So it makes much more sense to keep this overall blockchain side of things, which is the main DAO, HIT 51, Helium DAO, and then have a sub DAO for each token as such. So the first one that's been submitted is the LoRaWAN sub DAO. How this will work, how governance is done, how everything is done. It's too much to go over in a video, but give it a good read. But the idea is that we can split these into secondary layers. So all the main chain will do is create blocks, validate transactions, and continue running. Everything else is done on layer 2, and then settled against a bonding curve against HNT. So it's still a position that HNT is the overall currency. If 5G does well, LoRaWAN will do well, but at the same time, if LoRaWAN fails or 5G fails, the other one can run without being affected as such. So I'd recommend having a look at this and reading about DAOs. It's a very, very technical subject, so have a read into it, have a look into everything, and pop into one of the Helium rooms to talk to people about this. Just take your time with it. These HIPs are very, very complex. It happens to be that it's not my first time dealing with DAOs, so I've actually dealt with DAOs from the Pirate Radio DAO. They're a really cool DAO that's looking to form up to improve the Helium network as such. So they're currently writing a mission statement about what the Pirate Radio is going to do, but the idea is that they can help expand and improve the coverage of decentralized wireless networks. So they've got some terminologies about the website and what they're trying to do, but they're a very new venture at the moment. So if you do want to get involved, there's a Discord link in this video, and you can visit the website as well. And finally, I wanted to end on some good news. The first one that I've seen is that Greyscale have now got HNT under consideration. So right there, Helium, this is a new edition, that's why it's in bold. They're now considering holding HNT for the future. So Greyscale are a huge fund. If you haven't heard of them before, I recommend looking into them. They're one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. For them to even consider us is just crazy. You know, they obviously see some future in it. Something people have noticed and said that there is a lot of lower grade coins here, but you know, just the fact that we're on here just means there's a significant interest in HNT over the network. And the second bit of news was the Motley Fool have launched an article, and they reckon now's the time to do this, which is crazy, you know, to see articles coming out saying that this is going to be something huge in the future. They say Helium has a solid position in market capitalization and mature network implementation, which is fantastic to see. And you know, everyone's just on fire about 5G. It's just going to change the game for a lot of people. Recently in the UK, for example, we've had 3G be disabled. So anyone that was running on the lower cost 3G is now out of a home. So it's the perfect time for Helium to hit with LoRaWAN and 5G. So we're positioned to do really, really well. And after the news earlier on in the week about DAOs, about you know, 5G DAO, LoRaWAN DAO, it's just going to change the game. You know, I strongly believe we're a top 10 coin here. That we're gonna see a time where Helium is in the top 10, and you know, I hope to see that it grows beyond just a 5G network, beyond just a LoRaWAN network, and it eventually becomes this, you know, the network layer. I've always said, you know, Bitcoin's a store of value, Ethereum's the computer. I think Helium is going to be the settlement and you know, movement of data layer. Get rid of this old Web 0.2 and move into Web 0.3 world. And that's it for the first week of news. So thanks for watching, and if you found it interesting, please subscribe and please drop a like on this video. It really, really helps. And remember, please drop some FAQ questions if you've got a question that you want answered. Drop it in the comments below and I'll answer it next week for you. Thanks, bye for now.